Time for another coffee with Kilroy, or what I like to call beverage in a book. My beverage? Coffee. The book? Well, I'm back to game books. This is Lone AstroTank, a solitaire sci-fi war game. And as luck would have it, it is Sci-Fi Fantasy Saturday. So grab your coffee or whatever you're drinking and join me as we page through Mike Lambo's latest endeavor. Yes, Mr. Lambo has been a busy boy. This is Lone AstroTank, as it says, a solitaire sci-fi war game. We look on the back here, and it says the AstroTank will be developed in the 22nd century to counter-perceive threats from as yet undiscovered alien species. Finally complete, the AstroTank will be required in the early 23rd century when first contact is made with an aggressive alien species who want nothing more than to colonize as many planets as possible for their own consumption. Despite some attempts at a peaceful settlement, the aliens will breach a preliminary agreement and construct a base on our own moon. As one of the Earth's non-negotiables, it will result in an all-out war between the two species. The Earth's newly formed Astro Defense Force, ADF, will be ordered into combat for the first time. Lone AstroTank puts you in charge of a single AstroTank as its 3 crew members, and as it is dropped onto different planets to assist with the removal of the alien presence. You will need to manage the crew to enable them to operate the AstroTank in the most efficient way possible while facing dangerous, aggressive, and terrifying aliens in a selection of varied and challenging missions. Whilst this game is not a narrative-driven game as such, with a little imagination, it will provide memorable stories. Some events are randomly generated, but the player generally has at least some degree of control over the level of risk they wish to take and how vulnerable they leave their AstroTank and its crews to these events. So this is the latest in Mike Lambo's game books. You know, he's done a lot of war game books that are really more like hex and counter type war games that are contained in a book. You know, this one, as we can see, is going to have some hexes and some counters as well. You're going to have to supply your own counters, but he's really good at basically laying out a map of the scenario or the encounter, and then he'll have an AI. So it's usually 2 pages. One is the map, and one is the AI with all the charts. Your selection or choices of what you want to do, and then the AI's response to that. So let's get into the book and see what we have in here. There's a cover page, and then here are a lot of the other books from Mike Lambo, which I think I have all of them. So as you can see here, he's starting to get into some more sci-fi stuff with Lone AstroTank, which is this book, and then Outpost 2099, which I've covered, and I might put a link to all of his in the description of this. Here's your contents. It talks about background, how this book works. He has that in each of his books. Objectives and key concepts and setup. Main rules, including the turn process. And that's from page 15 to 24. So you're looking at around 9 pages of rules. Mission selection and campaign building. And it looks like he has 12 missions here. So quite a bit of replayability in that regard. And then you have like the introduction, you've got key concepts, and here's some of the terrain features you're going to see: buildings, clear hex, rocks, rock lines, higher ground, and what the general effect is. You also have road and landing strip and liquid. And then you're going to have the alien tanks. You're going to have some of the, some of the armament for the AstroTank, but then here's the aliens. Stats as well, kind of a key that goes with those stats of size, armor value, armor piercing. Talks about your crew, facing, line of sight, and range. You know, this is very much a tactical game, kind of a almost small unit tactical game. Attacking units, And some specifics of the combat there. Here's damage. Talking about AP value there. So as you see there, and that is some of the basics of the rules. And then here's the main rules, including the turn process. So those are some of your key concepts. And then you get into the main rules of movement and firing and all your different options. So you have move, turn, reverse, fire, shield, extinguish, and heal. And then you have the alien phase, and this will be the charts that you use. You know, you'll roll on these, and this will determine what the alien does on its turn. And it's relatively good size print here. It fills up the whole page, but it's, you know, it's not crammed text. Then you have your end of turn events phase, and then you get into mission selection and campaign building, and then you're into it. Now, I'm not going to show all these, but you know, this is basically how they're kind of laid out. You'll have a mission, talks a little bit about what the background or context. Then what units are involved. Here's your AstroTank. Here are the aliens. They have a tank and infantry. Here's what you can choose on your phase. And you have driver, commander, gunner. Those are your crew members. And then you have what the alien can do on its phase. Here's what the infantry might do on a roll and what the tank might do on a roll. Any special modifiers or conditions, and then end of turn events. So there could be an event that comes on here. And so this is what is going to control the game, and then over here is the game. Here's your map board or game board or whatever you want to call it, kind of a hex grid, and some boxes to keep charts of certain things. And I imagine that, and then there's going to be several of these. You know, there's 12 missions, so there's going to be several of these in here. They're all going to be different, you know, different layout, and then some different. Like this one has aliens has a tank, Disker, infantry, and Lizoik. So you've got different things going on here. So this is going to change along with the scenario as well. But I imagine that he usually puts some proposed or sample counters in here. I don't know if he did it in this case. Yep, there you go. So here's some suggested counters. You don't have to use these. I mean, you could probably mark in these books if you want to. Or put a sheet over it, mark stuff, but this is a way to, you know, if you want to cut out, you know, print or mount these counters, then you have some certain counters you can use in the game. And there you have it. That is Lone AstroTank, a solitaire sci-fi war game from Mike Lambo. So you're getting some of the small unit tactical combat that we've seen in Lone Sherman and some of his other war games, but you're taking it to a sci-fi setting, and of course he has his kind of patented AI that's built in for in this case the aliens, but in other cases it's the Germans or your enemy forces. So take a sip on me. Anyway, that's what I have for you today. Love to know your thoughts on this or any of Mike Lambo's offerings. Or these game books or war game books in general. What do you think about that? And thank you so much for stopping by. And the best way I know you stop by is drop a comment. Let me know what you think about this or anything that I talk about. Just keep it civil. Have a good one. Thanks for watching.